When I tell you that your wish is coming true, I am not making a prediction based on probability or wishful thinking. I am stating a principle that is as exact as mathematics. The law of assumption, which governs all of creation, ensures that what you assume to be true, what you feel to be real, with the intensity of faith, must objectify itself in your world. It must become your reality. Think about why you are witnessing these words right now. Is it truly by accident? There are no accidents in a universe governed by law. You are here because something within you has been seeking confirmation, seeking the knowledge or the reminder that what you have been desiring is on its way to you. And I say to you with absolute certainty, it is. Many of you have been dwelling in states of lack or limitation. You have been telling yourself stories about why you cannot have what you desire, what circumstances are against you, why others are more blessed than you are. But I tell you now, these are merely assumptions you have accepted as truth. They have no power over you except the power you continue to give them through your attention and belief. Your consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. If you persist in the feeling that your wish is already fulfilled, if you sleep in the assumption of its reality, nothing in this world can prevent its manifestation. This is the law by which all things come into being. Consider for a moment, have you been faithful to your desire? Have you been dwelling in the end, feeling the reality of your wish fulfilled? Or have you been vacillating between faith and doubt, between the consciousness of having and the consciousness of wanting? Remember, the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation. It is not about trying to make something happen through physical effort or struggle. It is about assuming the feeling of already having what you desire. The outer world is merely a reflection, a shadow of your inner assumptions. Change the assumption, and you change the reflection. It is that simple, though I know many find this difficult to accept, because they have been conditioned to believe that reality is something fixed and external to themselves. It is not. Reality is fluid and responsive to your consciousness. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, a young woman came to one of my lectures. She was desperate to be married, but she had convinced herself that there were no eligible men in her life, and that at her age, her chances were diminishing daily. She was dwelling in a state of lack and longing, focusing on the absence of what she desired rather than its presence. I instructed her to create a simple scene that would imply her wish was already fulfilled. She decided that if she were married, she would wear a wedding band on her finger, and at night when she removed her jewelry, she would place that ring in a specific spot on her dresser. So every night before sleep, she enacted this scene in her imagination. She felt the ring between her fingers, felt herself placing it on the dresser, and most importantly, she captured the feeling of being happily married. Within a month, she met a man at a gathering she had initially not wanted to attend. Their connection was immediate and profound. 6 months later, they were married, and yes, every night, she now removes her wedding band and places it exactly where she had imagined. Her outer world rearranged itself to match her inner assumption. This is not coincidence or luck. This is law. The law that states consciousness is the one and only reality, and what you are conscious of being, you become. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I've been trying to manifest my desire for so long, and nothing has happened. To this I say, you have not been dwelling in the end. You have been dwelling in the process, in the state of wanting and trying rather than in the state of having and being. Your wish can only come true when you live from the assumption that it already has. Remember, imagination creates reality. Your imaginal acts are facts. They are realities. They are already fully present in your consciousness, though they may not yet be visible to your mortal eye. But they will be. For everything in this world began as an imaginal act before it materialized into the visible. Let us explore this deeper. The Bible, which is not a historical document, but a psychological drama, tells us in countless ways that we are the operant power in our lives. Whatsoever things ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. This is not a promise of future fulfillment. It is a present tense instruction. Believe that you receive now, and manifestation must follow. When you truly understand this, you realize that there is nothing to wait for, nothing to wish for. There is only the acceptance of what already is in consciousness. Your desire is already fulfilled in the imagination, which is the reality of all things. Your task is not to make it happen, but to appropriate it through the feeling of its reality. I urge you now to take a moment and reflect on what you truly desire. Not what you think is possible based on your current circumstances, but what you would love to be, do, or have if you knew you could not fail. Hold that desire in your consciousness now. Feel its reality. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the sense of completion that comes with its fulfillment. Can you feel it? Can you taste it? Can you accept that in the realm of imagination, where all creation begins, it is already done? This is the faith that moves mountains. Not faith in some external power to it for you, but faith in the reality of your own imaginal acts. The world you see is a picture of your own consciousness made visible. If you don't like what you see, change your consciousness and the picture will change accordingly. There is no other way to effect permanent change in your life. All attempts to change the outer without first changing the inner are temporary at best and often result in the same patterns recurring in different forms. Consider this: you are not a body with a consciousness. You are consciousness itself, temporarily expressing through a body. Your true identity is the observer, the awareness in which all experiences arise. This awareness, this I am, is God himself. I and my Father are one, as the scripture says. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God, for that is his name forever. Whatever you attach to I am becomes your reality. I am sick creates the experience of sickness. I am wealthy creates the experience of wealth. I am loved creates the experience of being loved. Watch your I am statements carefully, for they are the most powerful creative declarations you can make. Now let us return to the title of this message. This video appeared because your wish is coming true. Do you see the profound truth in this statement? This video, this message, is part of the bridge of incidents leading to the fulfillment of your desire. It has appeared in your experience now, because you are ready to receive the final pieces of understanding that will allow your manifestation to complete itself. Everything in your experience is there by your invitation through your consciousness. Nothing comes uninvited. If this message resonates with you, it is because you have called it forth from the depths of your being. Your wish has set in motion the forces that will bring about its fulfillment. And this is one of the steps on that journey. Let me share another principle that is critical to understand. Time in the physical world is not what determines when your desire will manifest. It is the intensity and consistency of your feeling, your assumption, that determines the timing. What you believe to be true with absolute conviction, while feeling the emotion of its reality, manifests with a speed proportional to the intensity of that feeling. Many of you have desires that you've been holding for years, wondering why they haven't manifested. The answer is simple. You have not yet fully convinced yourself of their reality. You still see them as something to be attained in the future, rather than something that is already yours in the present. The moment you truly believe with every fiber of your being that your wish is fulfilled, in that moment it is done, and nothing can prevent its expression in the outer world. This is why people who have had profound spiritual experiences, moments of complete faith and knowing, often report miraculous manifestations. There is nothing miraculous about it. It is simply the law functioning as it always does, but with an intensity of belief that accelerates the manifestation process. So how do you cultivate this level of faith? Through persistent imagination, through the daily practice of dwelling in the end, of living from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. This is not pretending or self-deception. This is understanding the true nature of reality and working with it rather than against it. Your physical senses tell you what is. Your imagination tells you what can be. And what can be already is in the only place where reality truly exists, in consciousness. Let me emphasize something important here. Many spiritual teachings advise you to detach from your desires, to release your attachment to outcomes. While there is wisdom in this, it is often misunderstood. True detachment comes not from giving up your desire, but from knowing it is already yours in consciousness. When you know something is yours, you are no longer anxious about getting it. You are relaxed in the knowledge of possession. This is the state you must cultivate, the calm, confident knowing that what you have imagined is already a fact in consciousness and must by law materialize in your experience. This is not attachment in the needy sense. It is appropriation in the spiritual sense. Consider how you feel about something you already have and take for granted, like the ability to breathe or the beating of your heart. You don't worry about these things because you know they are already yours. Bring this same knowing to your desires and watch how quickly they manifest. I want to share with you another powerful technique for impressing your subconscious mind with the reality of your desire. It is the technique of revision, which allows you to rewrite your past and in doing so, change your future. If you have had experiences that contradict your desire, experiences of failure or disappointment, do not allow them to define your expectation of the future. Instead, revise them. Before you sleep each night, replay the events of the day in your imagination, but change them to align with your desired outcome. See yourself succeeding where you failed, receiving what you were denied, being recognized where you were overlooked. This is not denial of reality. It is the recognition that what we call reality is fluid and responsive to consciousness. By revising the past in imagination, you are actually changing the patterns of thought and expectation that create your future experiences. You are breaking the cycle of repetition that keeps you bound to unwanted circumstances. Remember, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between an actual physical event and one that is vividly imagined. To your subconscious, both are equally real. Use this to your advantage by consciously creating memories of experiences that align with your desires. I have tested this principle countless times in my own life and in the lives of those who have applied my teachings. It works with mathematical precision when properly understood and applied. Your imagination, directed consciously and with feeling, is the tool by which you shape your reality. Now, let us address another common misconception. Many believe that their desires must come through specific channels or in specific ways. They try to dictate not only what they want, but how it should come to them. This is a limitation that often delays manifestation. When you place your order with the universe through your imagination, allow the infinite intelligence of life to determine the how and the when. Your job is to dwell in the end, to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The means by which it will come to pass are often far more ingenious and perfect than anything your limited conscious mind could devise. This doesn't mean you shouldn't take inspired action when it presents itself, but such action should come from a place of knowing that what you desire is already yours, not from a place of trying to make it happen through force or struggle. Think of it this way. When you order a package online, you don't concern yourself with the specific route the delivery truck will take to bring it to you. You trust that it will arrive. Apply this same trust to the manifestation of your desires. Know that once you have placed your order through the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it must come to you by the bridge of incidents best suited to its expression. Another vital aspect of successful manifestation is persistence. Neville Goddard spoke often of the importance of persisting in your assumption until it hardens into fact. One imaginal act, no matter how vivid, is rarely enough to completely transform a deeply entrenched belief system. You must return to your imaginal scene repeatedly, dwelling in it with the same joy and conviction each time, until it feels more real to you than the evidence of your senses. This is not about quantity of time, but quality of feeling. 10 minutes of fully absorbed, emotionally charged imagination is worth more than hours of half-hearted visualization. Make your imaginal scene so vivid, so emotionally compelling, that you temporarily forget your current reality. This is the kind of imagination that changes your world. Let me tell you about a man who came to me years ago. He was in a position he hated, working for a boss who undervalued him, earning far less than his talents deserved. He had been trying to manifest a new position for months with no success. When I asked him about his approach, he told me he had been visualizing receiving a job offer. I explained to him that this was still dwelling in the process, not in the end. The end would be actually working in the new position, enjoying it, receiving the higher salary. I instructed him to create a scene that implied this was already his reality. He decided to imagine a conversation with a friend in which he was sharing how much he loved his new role and how appreciated he felt. He imagined this friend congratulating him on his significant increase in income. He performed this imaginal act every night before sleep. And within 3 weeks, he was offered a position that far exceeded his expectations. The interesting part was that this opportunity came through a channel he never would have anticipated, from a connection he had made years earlier and had almost forgotten. This illustrates the wisdom of focusing on the what, not the how. Your desire knows its own way into expression. Trust the process and keep your attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now I want to address a question that many of you may have. What about desires that seem impossible given my current circumstances? Perhaps you desire a relationship, but there is no romantic prospect in sight. Perhaps you desire financial abundance, but your debts are mounting and your income is limited. Perhaps you desire perfect health, but you have received a troubling diagnosis. To this I say circumstances do not matter. Only state of consciousness matters. Your current circumstances are merely the fruit of past assumptions. They have no power to determine your future unless you continue to give them that power through your attention and belief. In the realm of imagination, there are no limitations. All things are possible to him who believes. Your task is not to figure out how to overcome your circumstances, but to so completely immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled that your circumstances have no choice but to conform to your new assumption. This requires a certain death of the old self, the self that is identified with limitation and lack. You must be willing to let that self die so that your new concept of self aligned with your desire can be born. This is the true meaning of rebirth. It is not a physical death, but a psychological one, a radical shift in consciousness from identifying with what is to identifying with what you choose to be. The scripture tells us, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. Your old concept of self must die for your new concept to bear fruit in your experience. This death is not to be feared, but embraced, for it leads to a resurrection into a higher, more expanded state of being. As we continue to explore the profound truth that your wish is coming true, let us consider the role of feeling in manifestation. Feeling is the secret of successful manifestation. It is not enough to intellectually affirm that your desire is fulfilled or to create mental pictures without emotion. You must feel the reality of your desire with such intensity that emotionally you are living from its fulfillment now. This feeling is what impresses the subconscious mind, which is the creative power within you. The subconscious accepts as true what the conscious mind feels to be true, and then proceeds to bring about circumstances and events that align with that truth. How do you cultivate this feeling? By entering fully into your imaginal scene, by making it so vivid and real that it temporarily displaces your awareness of present circumstances. You must see what you would see, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel, if your desire were already a physical fact. Many people attempt to manifest from a place of desperation or urgent need. This is counterproductive because the feeling of desperation contradicts the feeling of fulfillment. You cannot feel unfulfilled and fulfilled at the same time. Choose carefully which feeling you will entertain, for that is the feeling that will determine your experience. I often recommend that before you enter into your imaginal scene, you first relax your body and quiet your mind. A relaxed state makes your subconscious more receptive to new impressions. Take several deep breaths, release all tension, and then proceed to construct your scene. In this receptive state, your imaginal experience will make a deeper impression on your subconscious mind. Another powerful approach is to capture the feeling of your wish fulfilled just as you are falling asleep. The moments between wakefulness and sleep are particularly potent for impressing the subconscious. If you can fall asleep feeling that your desire is already fulfilled, you give your subconscious mind hours to work uninterrupted on bringing that assumption into physical expression while you sleep. Remember, your subconscious mind is active 24 hours a day. It never rests. By giving it the impression of your fulfilled desire before sleep, you allow it to work throughout the night on rearranging the substance of your world to match your assumption. Let me share a personal experience that demonstrates this principle. Many years ago, I desired to speak to large audiences about these principles. At the time, I was speaking to very small groups, often just a handful of people. But I knew that what I am sharing with you now needed to reach thousands. Each night before sleep, I would imagine standing before a vast audience. I would feel the excitement in the room, hear the applause, and feel the satisfaction of knowing that these transformative ideas were reaching so many. I persisted in this assumption night after night, even though my physical circumstances showed no immediate sign of change. Within a year, I was invited to speak at venues I never could have accessed through my own efforts or connections. The audiences grew from dozens to hundreds to thousands. The bridge of incidents that led to this manifestation was so perfect, so natural, that had I not understood the law, I might have called it mere good fortune. But I knew it was the direct result of my persistent assumption. This principle applies to every area of life without exception. There is nothing you cannot be, do, or have when you understand and apply the law of assumption. Health, wealth, love, creative expression, spiritual growth, all are responsive to this one principle. Now, there is another aspect of successful manifestation that we must address. It is the principle of naturalness. For your manifestation to appear in your physical reality, your assumption must feel natural to you. It must not feel like a strain or a far-fetched fantasy, but like the most natural thing in the world. This is why I often recommend starting with desires that stretch you but do not completely shatter your sense of what is possible for you. As you succeed with these initial manifestations, your faith in the law grows, and you can gradually take on assumptions that once seemed impossible. Remember, the feeling of naturalness comes with repetition. As you persist in your assumption, returning to it night after night, it begins to feel more and more normal. What seemed audacious at first gradually becomes acceptable, then probable, then certain. This is the hardening of an assumption into fact. I have often been asked, how long must I persist in my assumption before it manifests? The answer varies with each individual and each desire. Some assumptions manifest almost instantly, while others require more persistent effort. The determining factors are the naturalness of the assumption to you and the degree to which it contradicts your existing beliefs. A desire that aligns closely with your current self-concept will manifest more quickly than one that requires a dramatic shift in identity. This is not because one is more difficult for the law to accomplish. All things are equally possible to the law, but because your own consciousness may offer more resistance to assumptions that feel foreign to your established self-concept. This is why self-concept is so crucial in a manifestation. Your self-concept is the sum total of all your beliefs about yourself. It is the answer you give to the question, who am I? Your manifestations will always be consistent with this self-concept, for you cannot manifest your level of consciousness. If you desire wealth but identify as someone who struggles financially, you must first change the identity. You must begin to think from the assumption, I am wealthy, rather than thinking of wealth as something to attain. As your self-concept shifts, your manifestations will shift accordingly. The same applies to relationships, health, professional success, and every other area of life. Your experience will always reflect your self-concept. Change the concept, and you change the experience. This is the law. Now let me address a common concern. Many of you have desires that involve specific other people, a romantic relationship with a particular person, recognition from a specific authority figure, reconciliation with someone from whom you're estranged. You wonder if it is possible to manifest outcomes that require the participation of others who have their own free will. To this I say there is no one else. There is only God, only consciousness expressing itself in seemingly separate forms. The people in your life are reflections of states within your own consciousness. Change your consciousness, and they change in your experience. This does not mean they have no free will. It means that in your experience, they express the aspects of themselves that align with your consciousness. If you assume that someone loves you, appreciates you, supports you, that is what you will experience from them, because that is the state you have activated in your consciousness. Many have tested this principle and found it to be unfailingly accurate. Relationships that seemed beyond repair have been restored. People who seemed cold and distant have become warm and loving. Adversaries have become allies, all through a shift in consciousness on the part of one individual. Remember, you are not manipulating others when you assume a new state regarding them. You are simply exercising your God-given power to experience life from the state of your choosing. Everyone remains free to express according to their own consciousness, but in your world they will express in accordance with your assumptions about them. This understanding liberates you from dependence on the attitudes and behaviors of others. You no longer need to change them. You need only change your assumption about them. As you do, you will find that they change in your experience, often in ways that surprise and delight you. Let me share a story that illustrates this principle. A woman came to me in distress over her marriage. Her husband had become cold and distant, often staying out late without explanation. She feared he was involved with someone else and was contemplating leaving her. She had tried everything to reconnect with him, romantic gestures, confrontations, pleading, all to no avail. I instructed her to revise her perception of the situation. Rather than seeing him as distant and possibly unfaithful, she was to assume that he was deeply in love with her, devoted to their marriage, and finding her irresistibly attractive. Each night before sleep, she would imagine him expressing his love and commitment to her. She would feel the joy and security of being cherished by him. Initially, she found this difficult because it contradicted her current experience so dramatically. But she persisted, and within 2 weeks, she noticed subtle changes in his behavior. He began to come home earlier. He became more communicative. Then one evening, he brought her flowers and suggested they plan a second honeymoon. Within a month, their marriage had transformed completely. Was this a coincidence? No. It was the law in operation. She had changed her assumption, and her outer world reshaped itself to match that assumption. Her husband had always had the capacity to be loving and devoted. She simply activated that state in her consciousness, and it was reflected back to her in his behavior. This principle applies not just to personal relationships, but to all human interactions. In business, in community, in every area of life where you engage with, they will reflect back to you your assumptions about them and about yourself in relation to them. If you assume that people are hostile, competitive, or judgmental, that is what you will experience from them. If you assume they are kind, cooperative, and appreciative, that is what you will experience. The choice is always yours, and it is made not through your words or actions, but through your assumptions. As we continue to explore the fulfillment of your desire, let us consider the role of gratitude in manifestation. Gratitude is not merely a virtuous attitude, it is a powerful creative force. When you express gratitude for something, you affirm its presence in your life. You acknowledge it as real and present, not as something hopeful in the future. Many people withhold gratitude until after their desire has manifested physically. This is backwards. Gratitude is most powerful when it precedes manifestation, when it is offered for what exists in consciousness, but not yet in physical form. Begin now to give thanks for the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the gratitude you would feel if it were already an accomplished fact in your physical experience. This gratitude offered before the physical evidence appears is the highest form of faith. It says, I know it is done, and I am thankful. This attitude of thankfulness accelerates manifestation because it aligns you vibrationally with the reality of your desire. It closes the gap between your current state and your desired state by creating an emotional bridge of appreciation. Consider this: when you want something and don't have it, the predominant vibration you offer is one of lack or absence. This perpetuates the experience of not having. But when you are grateful for something, the predominant vibration is one of having, of possession. This attracts more experiences that match that feeling of having. So begin today to express genuine gratitude for the fulfillment of your desire, even before you see it with your physical eyes. Thank the God within you, your own wonderful human imagination, for having already granted your wish. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of completion that comes with knowing it is done. This practice alone can transform your manifestation process, bringing your desires into physical form with a speed and ease that may astonish you. Gratitude is the attitude that accelerates manifestation. Now, as we near the conclusion of this message, I want to emphasize a truth that may be the most liberating of all. You are not bound by your past. Your future is not determined by what has gone before. It is determined solely by your present assumptions. Many of you have had experiences of disappointment, failure, or loss. You may believe that these experiences predict your future, that they establish patterns that will continue to repeat. This is not true. Your past has no power over your future except the power you give it through your belief in it. Every moment is a fresh opportunity to assume a new state. Every night when you sleep, you have the chance to die to your old self and be reborn to your ideal. This rebirth is not a physical event, but a psychological one, a shift in consciousness from what has been to what you choose to be. Remember the words of Scripture, "Behold, I make all things new." This is not a promise for some distant future. It is a statement of an eternal truth. The creative power within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is always making all things new. It is not bound by the past or limited by physical circumstances. It is free to create anew in every moment. Your only task is to direct this creative power through your conscious assumption of the state you desire to experience. As you assume that state, feeling its reality, your outer world must reshape itself to match your inner knowing. This is the promise and the power of the law. What you assume, you become. What you feel as true must objectify itself in your physical experience. This is not a matter of hope or possibility. It is a matter of law. As you apply this law consciously, you will discover that you are indeed the operant power in your life. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Your consciousness is the one and only reality, and everything in your experience is a reflection of that consciousness. I tell you again with absolute conviction, this video appeared because your wish is coming true. It came into your experience at this precise moment, because you are ready to receive the understanding that will allow your desire to manifest completely in your physical world. The fact that you are hearing these words now is evidence that your consciousness has shifted to a place of readiness. Your own wonderful human imagination has orchestrated this moment as part of the bridge of incidents leading to the fulfillment of your desire. Trust this process. Know that what has begun in consciousness must complete itself in experience. The seed of your desire, planted in the fertile soil of your imagination and watered with the feeling of its reality, must grow into manifestation. This is law. As we conclude, I urge you to take this message into the silence of your own being. Reflect on the desire that is most dear to your heart. See it as already fulfilled. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of completion that comes with its fulfillment. Give thanks for it as an accomplished fact. Then release it into the law, knowing that what you have felt as real in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Go about your days from the calm certainty that it is done. Let go of anxiety, striving, and doubt. They have no place in the consciousness of one who knows the law and lives by it. Your desire is now in the hands of a power far greater than your conscious mind, the power of your own subconscious, which is God Himself operating within you. This power knows how to bring your desire into manifestation through the perfect bridge of incidents. Trust it completely. Remember always, your consciousness is the one and only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. Your world is a picture of your consciousness made visible. As your consciousness changes, your world must change to reflect it. Live from the assumption that your wish is fulfilled. Persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. And watch as the circumstances of your life rearrange themselves to match your new consciousness. This is the promise and the power of the law. This video has appeared because your wish is coming true. Accept this truth, live from it. and prepare to witness the miraculous unfolding of your desire in the world of form. For the law never fails, and you, through your conscious use of it, are the master of your destiny. Believe in the reality of your desire now. Feel its fulfillment as a present fact. Give thanks for its expression, and know beyond all doubt that it is done. Your wish is accomplished. Your desire is fulfilled. Your prayer is answered. It is finished. The law has been set in motion by your assumption, and nothing in this world can prevent its expression. What you have felt as real in the realm of imagination, which is the reality of all things, must make its appearance in your physical world. This is the eternal promise of the law. Go now in the peace and confidence of one who knows that creation is finished, that all exists now in consciousness, and that your experience is simply revealing what you have accepted as true. Live from your ideal as an accomplished fact, and watch the miracles unfold in your life. For I tell you again with absolute certainty this video because your wish is coming true. The desire of your heart is on its way to you now, traveling across the bridge of incidents that leads inevitably from its conception in imagination to its birth in experience. Trust the process, love the law, and live in the joyous expectation of good, knowing that what you have assumed must manifest. This is the law and the promise. This is the truth that sets you free.
Ladies and gentlemen, my beloved brothers and sisters, today I come to you with a word that will shake the very foundation of your spirit, a revelation that will transform your thinking, elevate your faith, and position you to walk in the fullness of God's promises. I speak to you not as mere men and women, but as chosen vessels, as kings and queens in the making, as the elect of the Most High, who have been tested, refined, and prepared for a season of divine overflow. Many of you have been through trials that made you question your calling. You have endured storms that threatened to break you. You have faced betrayals, setbacks, disappointments, and long nights of wondering when God's promise would manifest. But I came here today to tell you your season of trial has come to an end. The days of struggling, barely making it, fighting for survival, they are over. The Lord has declared over you, "Well done, my faithful servant. Now step into abundance." You see, trials are not punishments. Trials are not meant to destroy you. Trials are divine classrooms, places of testing where God molds his chosen ones into leaders, influencers, and stewards of great wealth. Gold must go through fire before it shines. Diamonds must be pressed before they sparkle. Oil must be crushed before it flows. And you, God's chosen one, have been through your crushing, your pressing, your refining fire. And now it is time for your reward. The word of God declares in Deuteronomy 8:18, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant." It is not the world that gives wealth. It is not luck. It is not the systems of men. It is God himself who grants the power to generate wealth, to establish dominion, to live in the overflow. And why does he do it? That his covenant may be established. Let me tell you something. Poverty is not your portion. Lack is not your inheritance. Struggle is not your destiny. You were born for dominion. The enemy has deceived many into believing that they must suffer indefinitely, that they must live in scarcity to be humble. But let me ask you, how does a child of the king live like a beggar? How does an heir to the kingdom walk like a slave? The moment you recognize who you are, your posture changes, your mindset shifts, and your circumstances must bow to the authority of your revelation. You are not just anyone, you are God's chosen. Before you were born, he knew you. Before you took your first breath, he had a purpose for you. And part of that purpose is to be a conduit of his wealth. He is shifting you from borrower to lender, from worker to owner, from survival to significance. The trials were your training ground. The hardships were your preparation. You had to be tested so that when the millions come, you will not be consumed by them, but you will steward them for the glory of God. Let me remind you of Joseph. The young man had a dream of greatness, a vision of prosperity, But before the palace he faced the pit. Before the crown he wore chains. Before ruling he was falsely accused. But through it all God was training him. He was refining his character, sharpening his wisdom, preparing his heart. And when the moment came, Joseph stepped into his wealth, not as a selfish man, but as a divine steward. Likewise, your journey has not been in vain. Every tear you cried, every night you prayed, every moment you felt abandoned, it was all part of the preparation. You had to lose some things to gain better things. You had to walk through seasons of emptiness so you could appreciate the overflow. You had to endure trials to prove your faithfulness. And because you did not give up, because you remained faithful, because you held on to the promises of God, now the floodgates of heaven are opening for you. God is not just giving you money, He is giving you divine strategies. He is placing ideas in your mind that will birth industries. He is giving you favor that will open doors no man can shut. He is sending the right people to connect with you, the right opportunities to align with your purpose. But you must be ready to step into it. Many people pray for abundance but are not prepared to receive it. If God gives you millions today, will you manage it well? If He entrusts you with wealth, will you use it for His kingdom, or will you let it corrupt you? The reason God allows trials before the breakthrough is to shape your heart, to ensure that when the millions come, they do not take His place in your life. Let me speak prophetically into your life. You are stepping into an era where doors will open without struggle, where financial opportunities will locate you, where debts will be cancelled and wealth will flow into your hands. But hear me. This is not just about you. This is about kingdom expansion. This is about feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, funding the gospel, building schools, hospitals, and businesses that will glorify God. You're not just becoming a millionaire for your comfort. You are becoming a millionaire for kingdom impact. There is an anointing for wealth that is being released upon the chosen ones, and it is for those who have endured the test. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous, and now is the time of divine wealth transfer. God is positioning you to be a leader in the marketplace, a financier of the gospel, a pillar in your community. The world is waiting for you to rise. Your family is waiting for you to break generational curses. Your city is waiting for the manifestation of God's glory in your life. This is your time. This is your moment. The wait is over. No more delay, no more excuses. Walk boldly into the blessing. Step courageously into the overflow. The trials are over. Now you are stepping into your millionaire status. This is not wishful thinking. This is not motivational speech. This is divine revelation. The enemy has tried to keep you blind to your inheritance, but today your eyes are opening. The chains of limitation are breaking. The curses of poverty are being reversed. The season of just enough is turning into a season of more than enough. So I challenge you today, change your mindset. Stop thinking like a slave and start thinking like a ruler. Stop expecting scarcity and start expecting overflow. Stop waiting for permission and start taking dominion. Wealth is not coming to the lazy. Wealth is not coming to the fearful. Wealth is coming to the diligent, the bold, the faithful, the obedient. The trials were necessary. They humbled you, they refined you, they tested your faith. And now, because you endured, you shall reap the reward. You are not just going to make a little money, you are going to be a millionaire. You are going to fund the kingdom. You are going to change lives. You are going to walk in such abundance that generations after you will call you blessed. So get ready, get positioned, get aligned with God's principles. Sow, invest, plan, and expect the harvest, because what is coming to you is bigger than what you prayed for. It is exceeding, abundant, above all you can ask or think. It is supernatural wealth, divine acceleration, unstoppable favor. The trials are over, and now you're going to be a millionaire. Hallelujah. The problem with many of God's people is not that they lack the capacity for greatness, but that they have been conditioned by the world to expect struggle as their permanent reality. Some of you have been so accustomed to hardship that when God opens a door, you hesitate. When an opportunity comes, you question it. When the breakthrough is at your doorstep, you shrink back in fear. But let me remind you today, God does not bring you through trials just to leave you in the wilderness. He does not allow you to be tested without a reward in mind. Every struggle has a purpose. Every hardship has a lesson. Every delay has a divine reason. And when that purpose is fulfilled, God will do exactly what He promised. He will bless you beyond measure. There are some of you who have been faithful in seasons of lack, and God has been watching. He has seen how you have managed the little you had. He saw you give when it was hard to give. He saw you trust when it was hard to trust. He saw you serve when you were tired and weary. And because you have been faithful over little, He is now about to make you ruler over much. The reason God allows seasons of testing is not to break you, but to qualify you. You have been tested, and now you are stepping into promotion. The trials were the prerequisite for your next level. Many people want the crown without the process. They want the millions without the discipline. They want success without obedience. But God does not work that way. God does not pour oil on an unprepared vessel. God does not release wealth into untrained hands. If you give a child a kingdom, he will destroy it, not because he is evil, but because he lacks the maturity to manage it. That is why God has taken you through trials, so that when the millions come, they will not destroy you, but rather they will empower you. Look at David. Before he became king, he was a shepherd. Before he sat on the throne, he lived in caves. Before he wore a crown, he faced Goliath. Why? Because God had to train him in obscurity before he could trust him with authority. Some of you have been hidden, unnoticed, overlooked, and rejected, but that was part of your training. God was sharpening your skills, developing your character, teaching you patience. And now, the season of hiding is over. You are stepping into your rightful place, not as a servant, but as a ruler. The wealth is coming, the favor is coming, the open doors are coming. But will you be ready? There is a principle in the kingdom. God blesses those who are ready. Some of you are praying for millions, but you have not yet mastered the art of managing hundreds. Some of you are asking for abundance, but your mindset is still stuck in scarcity. God does not pour new wine into old wineskins. Before He releases wealth, He transforms the mind. That is why Romans 12:2 tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. You cannot enter a millionaire's season with a poverty mindset. You cannot step into overflow while thinking like a beggar. Your mindset must shift before your reality does. The enemy has been working overtime to keep God's people ignorant of their inheritance. He knows that a believer with financial power is a dangerous believer. He knows that if you ever step into your wealth, you will break generational curses, fund the gospel, build schools, take over industries, and shift economies. That is why he fights you. That is why he tries to keep you bound in survival mode. He knows that as long as you are struggling, you are distracted. But today I came to announce that the chains are breaking. The deception is being exposed. The strongholds of lack and limitation are being destroyed. You are stepping into a season where money will no longer be your master but your servant. Money was never meant to control you, it was meant to serve you. That is why Jesus spoke so much about stewardship. He did not condemn wealth, He condemned the love of it. Money is a tool, a resource, a means to fulfill purpose. It is not your identity. It is not your security. It is not your God. When you understand this, you will stop chasing money and start attracting it. You will stop worrying about finances and start walking in divine provision. The reason many people struggle financially is because they have made money their master. But Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." When you shift your focus from money to purpose, from survival to dominion, from fear to faith, wealth begins to find you. The chosen ones do not beg for blessings. They walk in blessings. They do not chase favor, they attract favor. They do not wait for opportunities, they create them. This is the season where you must start thinking differently. You are not a victim. You are not at the mercy of the economy. You are not bound by what the world says you can have. You are a kingdom citizen, and in the kingdom there is no lack. In the kingdom there are no limits. In the kingdom prosperity is your inheritance. Some of you have been conditioned by religion to believe that wealth is evil. But let me ask you, how can you fund the kingdom without resources? How can you be a blessing to others if you are struggling to survive? The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. You are not called to leave debts behind. You are called to leave a legacy. The wealth that is coming to you is not just for you. It is for your children, your grandchildren, and for the advancement of God's work. This is the time to position yourself. Get educated, develop new skills, start thinking like an owner, invest wisely, seek wisdom. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. The trials are over, the season of struggle has ended, and now it is time to walk into your inheritance. If you have been faithful, God is about to show himself strong in your life. The days of barely getting by are finished. The days of endless battles are coming to an end. Now is the time to rise, to take dominion, and to walk boldly into your millionaire season. The enemy tried to keep you down, but he failed. The storms tried to break you, but they only made you stronger. The setbacks tried to delay you, but they only positioned you for greater. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good. The waiting was not wasted. The suffering was not pointless. Everything you went through was preparing you for what is about to happen. This is not just a new season. This is a new dimension. This is a supernatural shift. This is the manifestation of God's promise. So I say to you today, get ready. Expand your vision. Make room for abundance. Start preparing for what is coming. Do not be like the 5 foolish virgins who were not ready when the time came. Get your house in order. Set your affairs in place. Expect the overflow. You are about to see the hand of God move in your life like never before. You are about to experience supernatural favor. The trials are over. Now you are stepping into divine prosperity. This is not for everyone. This is for the chosen ones. This is for those who did not give up. This is for those who endured. This is for those who remained faithful when things got tough. And because you endured, because you remained steadfast, because you trusted in God, now the heavens are opening over you. Now the wealth of the wicked is being transferred to you. Now doors are swinging wide open. Now you are stepping into the reality of God's promise. The trials were only temporary, but the blessing will be permanent. You are going to be a millionaire, not for selfish gain, not for vain pursuits, but for kingdom impact. The wealth is coming so that you can be a solution to problems, a light in darkness, a testimony of God's goodness. The days of struggling are over. The trials have served their purpose. Now it is time to walk in the fullness of what God has destined for you. The season has shifted. The floodgates have opened. The trials are over, and now you are going to be a millionaire. The journey you have walked has been necessary. Every tear you shed, every hardship you endured, every moment of doubt you faced, it was all preparing you for this. God was not punishing you. He was promoting you. He was stretching you, expanding your capacity, and enlarging your territory. You see, the problem is not that God is unwilling to bless you. The problem is that too many people want a blessing they are not yet ready to handle. God cannot release wealth into unprepared hands. He cannot give increase to those who lack the discipline to sustain it. That is why He allowed the process. That is why He tested you. And because you have endured, because you have been found faithful, now He is releasing the increase. Some of you have been crying out to God, asking, Lord, when will my breakthrough come? And He is saying the breakthrough is already here, but are you ready to walk in it? Many people are waiting for a sign, waiting for a miracle, waiting for something external to change. But the truth is, before the external shifts, the internal must shift. Your mindset must shift. Your faith must increase. Your habits must align with the vision God has given you. You cannot expect millionaire status while thinking in poverty. You cannot expect financial increase while still operating in lack. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you see yourself as small, you will remain small. If you see yourself as incapable, you will remain incapable. But when you recognize that you are chosen, when you understand that you have been set apart, when you truly believe that you are destined for greatness, then nothing can stop the manifestation of God's promises in your life. The enemy does not attack people who have no purpose. He attacks those who are dangerous to his kingdom. That is why your trials were so intense. That is why the warfare against you was so fierce. He saw what you were about to become. He saw the wealth that was coming to you. He saw the influence that God was positioning you for, and he tried to break you before you could step into it. But he failed. You're still standing, you're still believing, you're still trusting, and because you did not give up, because you did not quit, now you are stepping into your season of supernatural release. The Word of God says that he will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. Some of you have lost time. You have lost opportunities. You have watched others move ahead while you felt stuck. But God is a God of restoration. He is not just giving you back what you lost, he is multiplying it. He is giving you double for your trouble. He is accelerating what seemed delayed. What took others 10 years will take you 1 year. What seemed impossible will become effortless. This is the season of divine acceleration, where things will happen so fast your head will spin. Many of you have been faithful with little, and now God is making you ruler over much. He is giving you divine strategies, supernatural wisdom, and ideas that will generate wealth for generations. But hear me, this wealth is not just for your comfort. It is for kingdom expansion. It is for breaking generational curses. It is for establishing businesses that will employ others. It is for feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, funding the gospel, and being a light in the marketplace. The wealth is coming with a purpose, and those who understand that purpose will see an increase beyond their imagination. Too many believers are waiting for wealth to fall from the sky. But the truth is, God blesses the work of your hands. That means you must be doing something, you must be building something, you must be sowing seeds of diligence, creativity, and obedience. You cannot sit idly and expect abundance to chase you. Faith without works is dead. You must align your actions with your faith. If you believe you are stepping into millionaire status, then start moving like a millionaire. Start thinking like an owner. Start preparing for what is coming. Make room for the overflow. The reason some people never walk into their blessing is that they never prepare for it. They pray for a harvest but never plant seeds. They ask for promotion but never develop the skills required for the next level. They expect abundance but still operate in a spirit of scarcity. But God is saying today, I am ready to release it, but are you ready to receive it? This is the time to take action. This is the time to get serious about your purpose. This is the time to move in faith, even when you do not see the full picture. Because when you move, heaven moves. When you step out, the provision meets you. When you obey, the doors open. The trials were never meant to destroy you, they were meant to reveal you. Diamonds are formed under pressure, oil is released through crushing, gold is purified in fire, and you, God's chosen one, have been through the process. You have been through the refining. You have been through the pressing. And now it is time for the unveiling. The season of hiddenness is over. The season of struggle has expired. Now you are stepping into the manifestation of everything God has spoken over your life. Some of you have been afraid to step out because of past failures. You tried before and it didn't work. You believed before and it didn't happen. But hear me, the past does not define your future. The enemy wants to keep you trapped in the cycle of disappointment, but today that cycle is breaking. This is a new season, a fresh start, a divine reset. The doors that closed before will now open. The opportunities that were blocked will now be released. The favor that was delayed will now accelerate. God is not limited by your past. He is not restricted by what has happened before. He is doing a new thing. Can you perceive it? Can you embrace it? Can you believe it? Because those who believe will see the manifestation. Those who expect it will walk in it. Those who align themselves with God's promises will experience supernatural results. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to hesitate. This is the time to move boldly, to walk in faith, to take possession of what belongs to you. You have been anointed for such a time as this. You have been positioned for this moment. Everything you went through was leading to this. The struggles, the setbacks, the betrayals, the losses, they were all necessary for your elevation. And now the elevation has come. The shift has happened. The wealth is being transferred, the resources are being released, and those who have been faithful will now reap the rewards. So let me ask you, are you ready? Are you truly ready to walk in the fullness of God's blessing? Because this is not just about financial wealth. This is about purpose. This is about influence. This is about impact. Money without purpose is meaningless. Wealth without assignment is wasted. But when you understand why God is blessing you, when you align your wealth with His kingdom, when you use what He gives you for His glory, then there is no limit to what He will do in your life. The chosen ones are rising. The marketplace leaders, the kingdom financiers, the business owners, the innovators, the problem solvers, they are emerging. This is the time to build, to create, to take dominion. This is the time to establish systems that will last for generations. This is the time to break cycles of poverty and establish new legacies of wealth. The world will see the manifestation of God's power in your life. They will see the hand of God upon you. They will see that you serve a God who does not just supply your needs, but gives you more than enough. The trials were necessary, but they are over now. The waiting season has ended. The struggle has served its purpose. Now the abundance is being released. Now the overflow is coming. Now the millions are manifesting. And those who are ready will walk into it. Those who are prepared will take possession. Those who believe will see the impossible become possible. This is the hour. This is the moment. The season has shifted. The trials are over. Now you are going to be a millionaire. There is a sound in the spirit, a sound of breakthrough, a sound of release, a sound of divine acceleration. You have been waiting, you have been laboring, you have been enduring, but now the heavens are open over you. The storehouses of heaven are pouring out blessings that you do not have room enough to receive. The delay has been broken, the barriers have been removed, and what once seemed impossible is now within reach. You see, the enemy wanted to convince you that the trials would last forever. He wanted you to believe that struggle was your portion, that lack was your inheritance, that hardship was your destiny. But today I declare that the enemy is a liar. You were never meant to live in survival mode. You were never meant to beg for what already belongs to you. You were never meant to live beneath your calling. You were created for dominion, for abundance, for overflow. You were designed to be the lender and not the borrower, the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. And now you are stepping into that reality. This is a divine wealth transfer. This is supernatural favor. What took others decades to accomplish will happen for you in moments. Contracts will find you, clients will seek you out, partnerships will be established, doors you did not even knock on will open, your name is being spoken in rooms you have never entered. People are being divinely positioned to bless you, to invest in you, to elevate you, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because God has ordained it. Because the trials were only a test, and now that you have passed, you are stepping into your season of divine reward. There is a shift happening, a supernatural shift. It is happening right now, even as you hear these words. Things are aligning in the spirit. Mountains are being moved. Chains are breaking. And as you step forward in faith, you will see the evidence. You will see the manifestation. You will see the fulfillment of God's promises. The trials were necessary, but they are over. The struggle was a process, but it is complete. Now the floodgates of heaven are open. Now your millionaire season has arrived. Now is the time to walk boldly in the manifestation of God's promises. The trials were never meant to define you. They were meant to refine you. The struggle was never your destiny. It was only preparation for your elevation. You have been tested. You have been stretched. You have been shaped for this moment. And now the season of lack has come to an end. Step forward with faith. Move with expectation. Align your mind, your actions, and your spirit with the abundance that God is releasing into your life. This is not the time to shrink back, not the time to doubt, not the time to hesitate. Everything you have endured was for this purpose, to position you for increase, to establish you in dominion, to release you into wealth that will not just bless you, but will impact generations. The shift has happened. The doors are open. The opportunities are before you. The trials are over. Now, step into your millionaire season with confidence, knowing that God has ordained it, heaven has sanctioned it, and nothing can stop what He has set in motion. The time is now.
Let us begin this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. For in these principles lies the key to your freedom, your peace, and your ultimate power. Principle 1, the power of consciousness. The first and most fundamental principle we must grasp is that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive, everything you experience, every circumstance in your life is but an outpicturing of your consciousness. The world you see is a mirror reflecting back to you your own mental states, your own assumptions about reality. Many of you may find this concept challenging to accept at first. You may argue, but Neville, I see a solid world around me. I feel it, I interact with it. Surely this is reality. To this I say, what you perceive as solid and real is nothing more than a shadow cast by the light of your conscience. Consider for a moment your dreams. When you're in a dream, does it not feel real? Do you not interact with people, touch objects, experience emotions? Yet when you awaken, you realize it was all a creation of your mind. I tell you now, what you call your waking life is no different. It is a dream, a grand collective dream, but a dream nonetheless. Once you truly grasp this principle, once you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. For you are not a powerless observer of reality, but the very creator of it. This understanding is the foundation upon which all else is built. It is the bedrock of your invincibility, the source of your power. For if consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness, then you are the master of your reality. But how do we wield this power? How do we shape our consciousness to create the reality we desire? This leads us seamlessly into our second principle. Principle 2, the law of assumption. The law of assumption states that if you assume a state to be true and persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact. This law is the cornerstone of creation, the very mechanism by which you shape your reality. When you assume a state, you are essentially declaring to the universe, this is who I am. This is what is true for me. And the universe, being nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to your assumption. But remember, my dear friends, this law works both ways. If you persistently assume limitation, lack, or fear, these two will harden into fact. This is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles of negativity and misfortune. They are unwittingly assuming these states into existence. The key then is to consciously choose your assumptions. Assume states of abundance, of joy, of success, of love. Persist in these assumptions regardless of any seeming contradictions in your external reality. For remember, the external is but a shadow of your past assumptions. As you change your assumptions, the shadow must change to match the new shape of your consciousness. This principle of assumption is your shield against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. For how can external circumstances affect you when you know that you are the very author of those circumstances? But assumption alone is not enough. To truly harness the power of this principle, we must understand the role of feeling, which brings us to our third principle. Principle 3, the importance of feeling. Now, as we delve deeper into these principles, we come to a crucial understanding. It is not enough to merely think about your desired state. You must feel it. You must embody it with every fiber of your being. Feeling is the secret, my dear listeners. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, between your current reality and your desired reality. When you can genuinely feel the reality of your desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you activate a power beyond your wildest imagination. Think for a moment of a time when you were deeply in love. Recall the feeling, the emotion of it. How did it color your world? How did it affect your perceptions, your actions, your very being? This is the power of feeling. It transforms you from the inside out. In the same way, when you can feel the reality of desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you transform your entire being. You begin to think, act, and perceive in alignment with your desired reality. And as you do so, the external world has no choice but to reflect this new state back to you. This principle of feeling is your armor against the assaults of doubt and fear. For when you are filled with the feeling of your desire fulfilled, how can doubt find a foothold? How can fear take root? They simply cannot penetrate the radiant energy of your assumed state. But how do we generate these feelings? How do we create such vivid, transformative emotions? This brings us to our fourth principle, a principle that unlocks the full creative power of your mind. Principle 4, the power of imagination. As we progress in our understanding, we come to the fourth principle, the power of imagination. My dear friends, your imagination is not some idle fantasy factory. It is the very workshop of creation. It is the place where all things, all experiences, all states of being are first conceived before they are brought forth into physical reality. Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and all there ever will be to know and understand. Your imagination is the gateway to infinite possibilities. It is the realm where you can try on new states of being, where you can explore new realities, where you can shape your world according to your deepest desires. When you imagine, you are not merely daydreaming. You are engaging in the most profound act of creation. For remember, consciousness is the only reality, and your imagination is the tool by which you shape your consciousness. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with your wish fulfilled. Do this vividly, do this often, and do this with a firm conviction that what you are imagining is not some far-off possibility, but a present reality. This principle of imagination is your sword against the limitations of your current circumstances. For how can your current reality constrain you when you can, at any moment, step into a new reality in your imagination? But what of the past? What of the memories and experiences that seem to contradict our desired state? This brings us to our fifth principle, a principle that grants you power over time itself. Principle 5, the art of revision. Now we come to a principle that many find particularly powerful, the art of revision. This principle teaches us that we can go back into our past and change it. Not in a physical sense, of course, but in our consciousness, which, as we've established, is the only reality. You might ask, but Neville, how can we change the past? Isn't it fixed? To this I say, the past only exists in your memory. And memory is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly being rewritten by your present state of consciousness. When you revise a past event, you are not denying that it happened. Rather, you are choosing to remember it differently. You are rewriting the story in a way that serves your present and future. For example, if you had an argument with a loved one, instead of replaying the argument over and over in your mind, reinforcing the negative emotions associated with it, you can revise it. Imagine the conversation going differently. See yourself and the other person coming to a loving understanding. Feel the warmth and connection between you. As you do this, you are not merely engaging in wishful thinking. You are actually reshaping your consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your present reality must change to reflect it. This principle of revision is your time machine. It allows you to go back and plant seeds of positivity in your past, seeds that will bear fruit in your present and future. Or how can past events affect you when you have the power to revise them at will? But as we reshape our past and imagine our future, we must be careful not to fall into the trap of attachment. This brings us to our sixth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of letting go. Principle 6, the law of detachment. As we delve deeper into these principles, we come to one that many find challenging, the law of detachment. This law states that to manifest your desires, you must release your attachment to them. This may seem counterintuitive. You might think, but Neville, if I want something badly, shouldn't I focus on it intensely? The answer, paradoxically, is no. For intense focus often comes from a place of lack, a place of not having. And remember, what you assume, you create. Instead, cultivate a state of detachment. This doesn't mean you don't care about your desires. Rather, it means you trust so completely in the law of assumption, in the power of your consciousness, that you can relax into the knowing that your desire is already yours. Think of it this way. When you order a meal at a restaurant, do you sit there fretting about whether it will come? Do you constantly ask the waiter where your food is? No, you relax. You engage in conversation. You enjoy the ambience. You know your meal is being prepared and will arrive at the perfect time. In the same way, once you have placed your order with the universe through your assumption and feeling, relax. Trust in the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass in its own perfect timing. This principle of detachment is your shield against anxiety and impatience. For how can you be anxious about the future when you know with absolute certainty that your desire is already yours? But detachment does not mean inaction. It does not mean we sit back and wait for our desires to manifest. This brings us to our seventh principle, a principle that teaches us the power of consistent action. Principle 7, the power of persistence. Now, my dear listeners, we come to a principle that is crucial for your success, the power of persistence. This principle teaches us that we must persist in our assumption, regardless of any seeming contradictions in our external reality. Remember the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. For 6 days, Joshua and his army marched around the city, blowing their trumpets with no visible result. But on the 7th day, when they gave a mighty shout, the walls came tumbling down. This story beautifully illustrates the principle of persistence. Joshua and his men didn't give up when they saw no immediate results. They persisted in their assumption, in their faith, until their desire manifested. In the same way, you must persist in your assumption of your desired state. Even when your senses deny it, even when the world seems to contradict it, you must hold fast to your assumption. For remember, what you see in the external world is always the result of past assumptions. It tells you where you've been, not where you're going. Persistence doesn't mean struggle or strain. It simply means a calm, unwavering faith in the reality of your assumption. It means choosing again and again to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of any seeming evidence to the contrary. This principle of persistence is your steadfast companion on the journey of manifestation. For how can temporary setbacks discourage you when you know that your persistent assumption must eventually bear fruit? But persistence must be balanced with rest. It must be coupled with a deep sense of peace and completion. This brings us to our eighth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of divine rest. Principle 8, the Sabbath. As we continue our exploration, we come to a principle that is often overlooked but is of utmost importance, the principle of the Sabbath. In this context, the Sabbath is not a specific day of the week, but rather a state of mind, a state of rest and completion. After you have assumed your desire, after you have felt it real, after you have persisted in your assumption, there comes a point where you must rest. This rest is not inaction, but rather a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing your desire is already yours. In the biblical account of creation, God rested on the seventh day, not because he was tired, but because the work was complete. In the same way, you must come to a point where you can rest in the absolute knowing that your desire is manifested. This state of Sabbath is characterized by a profound sense of gratitude. You are grateful not for what you will receive, but for what you have already received. For in consciousness, in the only reality that truly matters, your desire is already yours. Entering this Sabbath state is crucial for manifestation. It is the final seal on your assumption, the period at the end of your relation to the universe. It is the state from which miracles naturally flow. This principle of the Sabbath is your oasis of peace in the journey of creation. For how can you be disturbed by external circumstances when you rest in the deep knowing that all is well, all is complete? But as we rest in this state of completion, we must also understand the dynamic nature of creation. We must grasp the reciprocal relationship between our inner and outer worlds. This brings us to our ninth principle, a principle that reveals the true nature of cause and effect. Principle 9, the law of reversibility. Now, my dear friends, we come to a principle that may challenge your current understanding of cause and effect, the law of reversibility. This law states that while a physical fact can be the cause of an imagination, it is equally true that an imagination can be the cause of a physical fact. In other words, while it's true that external circumstances can affect your mental state, it's equally true that your mental state can affect external circumstances. And since you have direct control over your mental state, you have indirect but very real control over your circumstances. For example, it's commonly believed that wealth brings a feeling of abundance. And this can certainly be true. But it's equally true that cultivating a feeling of abundance can bring wealth. The same is true for any state or circumstance you desire. This principle of reversibility puts the power back in your hands. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change so that you can feel better now knowing that this feeling will inevitably lead to improved circumstances. Remember, the external world is but a shadow of your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and the shadow must change. This is not wishful thinking or self-deception. This is working with the fundamental laws of creation. This principle of reversibility is your key to freedom from external conditions. For how can circumstances control you when you know that you can reverse the flow, creating circumstances from your chosen mental state? But to truly harness the power of all these principles, to become truly invincible to external influences, we must understand one final, all-encompassing principle. This brings us to our 10th and most profound principle, the principle that underpins all of creation. Principle 10, the I am. And now, my dear listeners, we come to the 10th and most profound principle, the I am. This principle is the foundation upon which all the others rest. It is the ultimate truth of your being. I am is the name of God. And it is your name too, for you are not separate from God, but an individualized expression of the divine. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness becomes your reality. If you say I am weak, you invoke and embody weakness. If you say I am strong, you invoke and embody strength. This is not mere positive thinking. This is aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Understanding this principle, you realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances or internal states. You are the chooser of your state. At any moment, you can declare I am and follow it with whatever state you wish to embody. This principle of I am is the ultimate shield against all that would affect you. For how can anything disturb you when you know that you are one with the creative power of the universe? My dear friends, as we conclude our exploration of these 10 principles, I want you to realize the immense power that lies within you. These principles are not mere theories or philosophical concepts. They are practical tools for living, keys to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. When you truly grasp these principles, when you live from them consistently, you become unshakable. Nothing can affect you because you know that you are the affecting power in your world. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you fully embodied these principles. Imagine moving through your days with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or anxiety, but with the calm certainty that you have the power to overcome them, to transform them, to use them for your growth and evolution. This is not a fantasy, my friends. This is your birthright. This is the truth of who you are. But remember, knowing these principles intellectually is not enough. You must apply them. You must live them. You must become them. Start now. Choose a state you wish to embody. Perhaps it's confidence, or abundance, or love. Assume that state. Feel it. Live from it. Persist in it. Revise your past to align with it. Detach from the outcome, knowing it's already yours. Enter the Sabbath, grateful completion. Understand that your assumption of this state is creating your reality, and declare with all the power of your being, I am, followed by your chosen state. As you do this, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small. A shift in how people respond to you, a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. But as you persist, as you deepen your understanding and application of these principles, the changes will become more profound. Your entire life will begin to reshape itself to match your new state of consciousness. And through it all, you will remain unaffected by the storms of life. For you will know with unshakable certainty that you are the weather maker. You are the creator of your reality. My dear friends, this is the promise of these 10 principles. This is the power that lies within you. Embrace it, live it, become it, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. But let us delve even deeper into the practical application of these principles, for it is in their consistent application that true mastery is achieved. Consider your daily life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are constantly declaring your state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is a declaration of who you are. Are you declaring states of limitation and fear, or states of abundance and power? Begin to consciously choose your declarations. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about the challenges of the day ahead, declare, I am blessed. I am abundant. I am powerful. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them permeate your being. As you go about your day, be vigilant of your mental states. When you encounter a challenging situation, Instead of reacting with anxiety or frustration, pause. Remember, this situation is but an outpicturing of your past assumptions. Then, consciously choose a new assumption. Declare, I am capable of handling this with ease and grace. Practice the art of revision throughout your day. If you have an unpleasant interaction with someone, don't let it linger in your consciousness. As soon as possible, close your eyes and revise the scene. See it playing out harmoniously. Feel the emotions of a pleasant, fulfilling interaction. This is not denial, this is conscious creation. Use your imagination constantly. Before important events or meetings, take a few moments to imagine them unfolding perfectly. See yourself speaking with confidence, being received warmly, achieving your desired outcomes. Feel the satisfaction and joy of these successful scenarios. Cultivate the state of the Sabbath. At the end of each day, before you sleep, enter a state of deep gratitude and completion. Regardless of what transpired during the day, choose to rest in the knowing that all is well. All is unfolding perfectly for your highest good. Practice detachment by focusing on the joy of the journey rather than the attainment of specific outcomes. Find pleasure in the process of growth and transformation. Trust that as you align yourself with these principles, your external reality must conform to your new state of consciousness. Remember the law of reversibility. If you find yourself in undesirable circumstances, instead of waiting for them to change so you can feel better, choose to feel better now. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, knowing that this feeling will inevitably bring about the circumstances you desire. And above all, be constant in your awareness of the I am. Let every thought, every word, every action be a conscious expression of your divine nature. For in this constant awareness lies true invincibility. My dear friends, as you integrate these principles into your daily life, you will find yourself becoming more and more impervious to external influences. You will no longer be swayed by the opinions of others, by temporary setbacks, or by apparent obstacles. For you will know with every fiber of your being that you are the creator of your reality. But this journey of mastery is not just for your own benefit. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. You inspire others by your example. You show them what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. For remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your own consciousness, you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Every assumption of a higher state, every act of revision, every moment of Sabbath rest ripples out into the collective consciousness, elevating all of humanity. This is the true power of these principles. They not only free you from the influence of external circumstances, but they also empower you to become a force for positive change in the world. Imagine a world where more and more people understand and apply these principles. Imagine a collective consciousness rooted in abundance, love, and endless possibility. This is the world you are helping to create as you master these principles in your own life. So I urge you, my dear friends, to take these principles to heart. Study them, apply them, live them, or in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Go forth now, armed with this knowledge, empowered by this understanding. Be the conscious creator you were born to be. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you uplift all of humanity. You become a beacon of light, showing others what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. In closing, I want to remind you of a profound truth. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And armed with these 10 principles, you can make that human experience as glorious, as joyful, as abundant as you choose. Be bold in your assumptions. Be daring in your imagination. Be unwavering in your persistence. For you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. Nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of. For you are the architects of your own destiny, the creators of your own reality. Nothing can affect you when you live from these principles. For you are one with the creative power of the universe. And as you go forth, remember that this journey of mastery is ongoing. Each day presents new opportunities to deepen your understanding, to refine your application of these principles. Embrace these opportunities. Welcome the challenges that arise, for they are but invitations to prove the power of your consciousness. Let every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, be a testament to your creative power. For in truth, there are no positive or negative experiences. there are only opportunities for growth, for deepening your understanding, for strengthening your faith in the power of your consciousness. As you continue on this path, you will find that your life becomes a living demonstration of these principles. You will become living proof of the transformative power of consciousness. And in doing so, you will inspire countless others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. My dear friends, the power to create the life you desire, the power to remain unaffected by external circumstances lies within you. It always has, and it always will. These 10 principles are simply keys to unlocking that power, to bringing it into your conscious awareness so that you may wield it deliberately and effectively. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Let nothing disturb your peace. Let nothing shake your faith. For you are one with the creative power of the universe, and in that oneness lies your invincibility. Thank you. And may your imagination be filled with wonders beyond measure. May your consciousness expand to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie before you. And may you always remember the truth of who you are, the operant power, the divine creator, the I Am. Before we delve into these rules, let us first understand the nature of attachment itself. In the world of Caesar, we are taught from an early age that our happiness, our very sense of self, is dependent on others. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by the affection and approval of those around us. This, my dear friends, is the great illusion that keeps us bound to a life of limitation and suffering. But I say unto you, true freedom lies not in clinging to others, but in recognizing the divinity within yourself. For you are God made manifest, the very essence of creation expressing itself in human form. And in this realization lies the power to detach from all external sources of validation and love. Now, let us turn our attention to the first rule of emotional detachment. Recognize the I Am within. This rule, my beloved listeners, is the foundation upon which all else is built. For until you truly understand and embody the I Am presence within you, you will forever be at the mercy of external circumstances and relationships. The I Am is not some distant, unknowable force. It is the very core of your being, the divine spark that animates your existence. It is the God within, the source of all creation, and the wellspring of infinite possibility. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God, for did not the scriptures tell us, I am that I am? This is the name by which the divine identified itself to Moses, and it is the name by which you must identify yourself in every moment of your existence. To emotionally detach from someone, you must first attach yourself wholly and completely to the I Am within. This is not a rejection of love or connection, but rather a recognition that all love, all connection, all fulfillment comes from within. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful oak tree. Its branches reach towards the heavens. Its leaves dance in the sunlight. But what gives this tree its strength, its very life? Is it not the roots hidden beneath the earth, drawing nourishment from the soil? So too must you be rooted in the I Am, drawing your strength and sustenance not from the fleeting affections of others, but from the eternal wellspring of divinity within. Practice this, my dear friends. In every moment of your day, affirm the I Am. Say to yourself, I am love. I am peace. I am fulfillment. Feel the power of these words resonating through every cell of your being. For in doing so, you are aligning yourself with the creative force of the universe. As you strengthen your connection to the I Am, you will find that your need for emotional validation from others begins to diminish. Like a candle whose flame grows ever brighter, you will become a source of light unto yourself and others. But remember, this is not a practice of isolation or disconnection. Rather, it is the foundation for true, unconditional love. For when you are firmly rooted in the I Am, you can extend love to others without expectation or attachment. You become a channel for divine love, allowing it to flow through you freely, unobstructed by fear or need. Now let us move on to the second rule of emotional detachment, live in the end. This rule, my dear listeners, is the very essence of creation. For what you experience in your physical reality is but a shadow, a reflection of what you have already accepted as true in your imagination. To emotionally detach from someone, you must live in the end of complete emotional freedom and self-sufficiency. You must see yourself in your mind's eye as one who is whole, complete and fulfilled, independent of any external relationship or circumstance. Close your eyes for a moment, if you will, and imagine yourself standing tall, radiating confidence and inner peace. See yourself moving through your day with grace and ease, unaffected by the opinions or actions of others. Feel the joy and contentment that comes from knowing that you are the source of your own happiness. This, my friends, is living in the end. It is not a denial of your current circumstances, but rather a recognition of the power of your imagination to shape your reality. For as you persist in this vision of emotional freedom, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to this inner truth. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. What you hold as true in your imagination must, by the very laws of creation, manifest in your experience. Therefore, if you continue to imagine yourself as emotionally dependent on another, you will continue to experience that dependency in your life. But if you dare to imagine yourself as emotionally free, as one who is complete unto themselves, then that is what you shall become. The person from whom you wish to detach will either fall away naturally from your life, or your relationship with them will transform into one of mutual respect and freedom. Practice this living in the end daily. Before you sleep at night and as you wake in the morning, spend a few moments in quiet contemplation, experiencing the feeling of being emotionally detached and self-sufficient. Feel the relief, the lightness, the joy that comes with this state of being. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your emotional reactions to the person begin to change. Where once there was attachment and need, there will be understanding and compassion. Where once there was fear of loss, there will be an unshakable knowing of your own completeness. Now let us explore the third rule of emotional detachment. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. This rule, my dear friends, is closely related to living in the end, but it goes a step further. It asks you not only to imagine the end state, but to fully assume it as your current reality. This is the art of what I call thinking from the end rather than thinking of the end. To emotionally detach from someone, you must assume the state of one who is already detached. This is not a matter of pretending or forcing yourself to feel a certain way. Rather, it is about stepping into a new state of consciousness, a new self-concept. Imagine, if you will, that you are an actor on a stage. Up until now, you have been playing the role of someone emotionally attached and dependent. But now you are given a new role, that of someone who is emotionally free and self-sufficient. Your task is to fully embody this new character, to think, feel, and act as they would. How would this emotionally detached version of yourself move through the world? How would they speak? How would they react to situations? How would they feel about themselves and others? Assume these qualities fully, not as something to be achieved in the future, but as your present reality. This assumption of the wish fulfilled is not about denial or suppression of your current feelings. It is about shifting your focus and your energy to a new state of being. It is about choosing moment by moment to align yourself with the version of you that is already emotionally detached. As you assume this state, you may find that your thoughts and feelings towards the person begin to shift naturally. Where once there was a constant preoccupation with their actions and reactions, there is now a calm indifference. Where once there was a need for their approval or affection, there is now a deep sense of self-approval and self-love. Remember, my dear listeners, that your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Therefore, guard your assumptions carefully. Do not allow yourself to slip back into the old state of attachment. If you find your thoughts drifting towards dependency or need, gently but firmly bring them back to the state of the wish fulfilled. This practice may feel challenging at first, especially if you have been in a state of emotional attachment for a long time. But I assure you, with persistence and faith, it will become more natural. For you are not creating a new reality, but simply aligning yourself with the truth of your being, a being that is whole, complete, and free. As you continue to assume the state of emotional detachment, you will find that your interactions with the person begin to change. You may notice that you no longer react to their words or actions with the same intensity. You may find that you can engage with them from a place of calm neutrality, free from the need to control or change them. This, my friends, is the power of assumption. It is the key to not only emotional detachment, but to all creation. For as you assume, so shall it be done unto you. Now let us turn our attention to the fourth rule of emotional detachment. Release all resistance. This rule, my beloved listeners, may seem paradoxical at first, for in your desire to detach, you may find yourself resisting the very feelings and thoughts you wish to release. But I say unto you, what you resist persists. The key to true detachment lies not in fighting against your attachment, but in releasing all resistance to what is. Consider, if you will, the nature of a river. It flows effortlessly towards the sea, not by pushing against the rocks in its path, but by flowing around them. So too must you learn to flow around the obstacles of attachment, rather than struggling against them. Resistance often manifests as judgment of yourself for feeling attached, judgment of the other person for their actions, judgment of the situation itself. But judgment, my dear friends, is the antithesis of detachment. It keeps you bound to the very thing you wish to release. Instead, practice acceptance. Accept your feelings of attachment without condemnation. Accept the other person exactly as they are, without trying to change them. Accept the situation as it is, without wishing it were different. This acceptance is not resignation or passivity. It is not about liking or approving of everything. Rather, it is about acknowledging what is without adding the extra layer of emotional resistance. It is about saying yes to the present moment, even as you work towards creating a different future. As you release resistance, you may find that many of the painful emotions associated with attachment begin to dissolve naturally. For it is not the attachment itself that causes suffering, but your resistance to it. When you cease to fight against what is, you open yourself to the flow of life, allowing transformation to occur effortlessly. Practice this release of resistance in every moment. When you notice yourself tensing up emotionally, whether in thought of the person or in their presence, consciously relax. Let go of the need to control the situation or the other person's behavior. Allow yourself to simply be without judgment or expectation. This practice of non-resistance extends to your thoughts as well. When thoughts of attachment arise, do not try to push them away or replace them with positive thoughts. Instead, observe them with detached awareness. Watch them arise and pass away like clouds in the sky without getting caught up in their story. As you cultivate this attitude of non-resistance, you will find that your emotional energy begins to shift. The intensity of your attachment will begin to dissolve, not through force or willpower, but through the gentle power of acceptance and allowing. Remember, my dear friends, that emotional detachment is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It is about freeing yourself from the compulsive need for external validation and control. It is about creating space for true love to flourish, love that is given freely without expectation or attachment. Now let us explore the fifth and final rule of emotional detachment: cultivate inner stillness. This rule, my beloved listeners, is the culmination of all that we have discussed, for it is in the depths of inner stillness that true detachment is realized. Not as a concept or a practice, but as your very nature. Inner stillness is not the absence of thought or emotion. It is the presence of awareness, pure, unbounded, and eternally free. It is the discovery of your true self, beyond all attachments and identifications. To cultivate inner stillness, you must learn to step back from the constant chatter of your mind. You must create space between your thoughts, between your breaths, between your heartbeats. In this space lies the key to emotional freedom. Begin by setting aside time each day for quiet contemplation. Find a comfortable place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and turn your attention inward. Focus on your breath, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest. As thoughts arise, and they will, for that is the nature of the mind, simply observe them without judgment. Do not try to stop your thoughts or change them. Instead, watch them come and go, like waves on the ocean of your consciousness. As you continue this practice, you may begin to notice moments of profound stillness. Moments when the chatter of your mind subsides and you are left with a deep sense of peace and presence. These moments, however brief, are glimpses of your true nature, the unchanging awareness that underlies all experience. From this place of inner stillness, emotional detachment arises naturally. For in the depths of your being, you recognize that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your attachments. You are the awareness in which all these arise and pass away. As you cultivate this inner stillness, you will find that your emotional reactions begin to lose their grip. The person from whom you wish to detach no longer has the power to disturb your peace. Their words and actions may still create ripples on the surface of your mind, but they cannot touch the depths of your being. This inner stillness becomes your refuge, a place of peace and clarity to which you can return at any moment. When you feel yourself becoming entangled in attachment or emotional reactivity, simply take a deep breath and reconnect with this still center within you. From this place of stillness, you can engage with the world and with the person from whom you're detaching with grace and equanimity. You can love without attachment, care without dependency, and relate without losing yourself. Remember, my dear friends, that this inner stillness is not something you need to create or achieve. It is already present within you, waiting to be recognized. Your task is simply to remove the obstacles, the mental and emotional noise that obscure its presence. As you practice these 5 rules, recognizing the I am within, living in the end, assuming the state of the wish fulfilled, releasing all resistance, and cultivating inner stillness, you will find that emotional detachment becomes not just a goal to be achieved, but a natural expression of your true self. Now, my beloved listeners, I want you to understand that this journey of emotional detachment is not a linear process. It is not something that happens overnight or in a steady, predictable progression. Rather, it is a dance, a beautiful, sometimes challenging dance between your habitual patterns of attachment and your growing awareness of your true, detached nature. There will be moments of profound clarity and freedom, where you feel completely detached and at peace. Cherish these moments, for they are glimpses of your true potential. But do not become attached to them, for attachment to detachment is still attachment. There will also be moments when you feel as though you've slipped back into old patterns of emotional dependency. Do not judge yourself for these moments. They are not failures, but opportunities for deeper understanding and growth. Each time you notice yourself becoming entangled in attachment, it is an invitation to practice these principles anew. Remember, emotional detachment is not about suppressing your feelings or becoming indifferent to others. It is about freeing yourself from the compulsive need for external validation and control. It is about creating space for true love to flourish, love that is given freely without expectation or attachment. As you continue on this journey, you may find that your relationship with the person from whom you're detaching begins to transform. Without the weight of your emotional expectations and needs, they may feel freer to be themselves. You may discover a new kind of relationship emerging, one based on mutual respect and genuine care rather than dependency and fear. Or you may find that as you detach emotionally, the relationship naturally falls away. For relationships built solely on attachment and need cannot survive in the light of true emotional freedom. Trust in this process, for it is the natural unfolding of your alignment with your true self. Throughout this journey, be gentle with yourself. Emotional detachment is not about forcing yourself to feel or not feel certain things. It is about allowing yourself to be exactly as you are in each moment, while holding the vision of your emotionally free self. Practice self-compassion as you navigate this path. When you notice yourself slipping into old patterns of attachment, rather than berating yourself, offer yourself the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and love. Remember also to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each moment of awareness, each choice to align with your detached self is a victory. Acknowledge these moments, for they are the building blocks of your transformation. As you move through your days practicing these 5 rules of emotional detachment, you may begin to notice changes not just in your relationship with the specific person you're detaching from, but in all your relationships and interactions. You may find yourself becoming less reactive in general, less easily swayed by the opinions and actions of others. You may discover a new sense of inner peace and stability that remains constant regardless of external circumstances. This, my dear friends, is the true gift of emotional detachment. It is not just about freeing yourself from one specific attachment, but about realizing your inherent freedom in all situations. As you continue to practice, you may find that the very concept of detachment begins to shift. What once seemed like a goal to be achieved becomes simply your natural state of being. You realize that you were never truly attached in the first place, that attachment was merely a story you were telling yourself. In this realization lies true freedom. For when you know yourself as the unchanging awareness beneath all thoughts and emotions, what is there to attach to or detach from? You are already complete, already whole, already free. From this place of inner freedom, you can engage fully with life without becoming entangled. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can care profoundly without being controlled by your caring. This, my beloved listeners, is the promise of emotional detachment. It is not a dry intellectual concept, but a living reality that you can embody in every moment of your existence. As we near the end of our exploration, I want to remind you that the power to emotionally detach lies entirely within you. It is not dependent on the actions or reactions of others. It does not require the cooperation or understanding of the person from whom you are detaching. It is a choice that you make moment by moment to align with your true free nature. In every interaction, in every thought of the person, you have the opportunity to practice these principles. Each moment is a new beginning, a fresh chance to choose detachment over attachment, freedom over dependency. Remember, the world around you is a reflection of your inner state. As you cultivate emotional detachment within yourself, you will find that your outer world begins to mirror this inner freedom. Relationships that were once sources of pain and struggle may transform into sources of joy and mutual growth, or they may fall away entirely, making space for new, more aligned connections to enter your life. Trust in this process, my dear friends. Trust in the wisdom of your own being. For as you align yourself with the truth of who you are, a divine, infinite being, complete unto yourself, all things must rearrange themselves to match this inner knowing. And so as we come to the close of this discourse, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on what you've heard. Feel the truth of these words resonating within you. Know that the power to emotionally detach, to free yourself from all limiting attachments, is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. Go forth from this place with a renewed commitment to your emotional freedom. Practice these 5 rules diligently. Recognize the I am within. Live in the end. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Release all resistance and cultivate inner stillness. But above all, remember that you are already that which you seek to become. You are already detached, already free, already complete. Your task is simply to remove the veils of illusion that obscure this truth. In every moment, you have a choice. You can choose to identify with your attachments and dependencies, or you can choose to align with your true, free nature. Make this choice consciously, make it with love, and make it again and again until it becomes your natural state of being. And know, my beloved friends, that as you walk this path of emotional detachment, you are not alone. The entire universe conspires to support you in your journey towards freedom. For in freeing yourself, you contribute to the freedom of all beings. May you go forth in peace, in love, and in the unshakable knowing of your own divine completeness. May you find the strength to detach from all that no longer serves you, and the courage to embrace the fullness of your true, liberated self. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. You are the author of your story. Write a story of freedom, of joy, of unconditional love. For that is your birthright, and it is within your power to claim it. Go now and be the embodiment of emotional freedom. Be the living proof that true love needs no attachment, that true strength comes from within, that true peace is your very nature. And as you do, know that you are fulfilling your highest purpose, for in freeing yourself, you light the way for others. In detaching from your own limitations, you help to liberate the world. This, my dear friends, is the ultimate gift of emotional detachment. It is not just a personal practice, but a service to all of humanity. For as you free yourself, you create a ripple effect that touches all those around you, inviting them to recognize their own inherent freedom. So go forth with courage, with faith, and with the unwavering conviction that emotional detachment is not just possible, but inevitable. For it is the truth of your being, waiting to be realized. May you be blessed on your journey. May you find the strength to persist in these practices. And may you come to know, beyond all doubt, the joy and peace that comes from true emotional freedom.